Hey guys, so here it is. Ford has revealed the second generation Ranger Raptor and the headline numbers are huge. 292 kilowatts and 583 newton meters from a 3-litre twin-turbo V6 petrol, a 0 to 100 time that has been slashed by 4 seconds, next generation chassis tech, and a switchable exhaust you can hear from more than half a kilometre away. In this video, I'm going to take you through a detailed look at all of the key changes, share the insider thoughts of the key Aussie engineers that helped make this ute happen, and answer some of your questions around whether there might be a V8 version, when the new Raptor is going to go on sale, and how much it might cost. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification. But right now, let's get into all of the details of 2022's most exciting dual cab. The original Ranger Raptor was a huge success for Ford. It sold more than 10,000 units in Australia, but despite its brilliant chassis, it had one major weakness: the engine. Ford fitted its Baja Beast with a 2-litre twin-turbo diesel, and even though it did have 157 kilowatts and 500 newton meters, many thought, myself included, that it was a ute crying out for more performance. Well, Ford has listened to the feedback, and it has really delivered. The new Raptor has switched from diesel to a 3-litre twin-turbo V6 petrol with almost twice the power and a healthy dose more torque. It's the same engine Ford uses in the Bronco Raptor in the US, and in the Ranger, Ford says it produces 292 kilowatts and 583 newton meters. That's likely to be slightly different to the official Bronco outputs due to the different homologation calculations between the US and Australia, but the two engines are basically identical. So that's a sharp increase in performance for the new Raptor. But to understand what it might feel like when you actually drive the dual cab, I asked Ford Performance Program Manager Justin Capicciano if they'd run any acceleration figures on the new Raptor. He revealed that the new Raptor is 4 seconds quicker to 100 k's an hour than the old ute, meaning it'll go from rest to the national speed limit in around 6.5 seconds. That is a huge improvement. Justin said that it's actually almost as fast as a Focus ST hot hatch, but it'll do it on dirt and all sorts of terrain. Ford says customer feedback, so your feedback, is what drove the switch from diesel to petrol power. The engine itself is a bored and stroked version of Ford's 2.7-litre EcoBoost Nano V6, and it's built around a graphite iron block, which Ford says to help save some weight. It also includes an anti-lag system, which is pretty cool, and that can hold the throttle open for up to 3 seconds after the driver has backed off to reduce lag and improve throttle and engine response. As before, the Raptor has a host of drive modes, including Baja mode, where the anti-lag system is most noticeable. Like the old Raptor, the gearbox is a 10-speed automatic, but it's actually a new unit that's lighter than before. The shift paddles on the steering wheel are milled from magnesium, but we'll go into the cabin in more detail later in the video. The new V6 will be the engine of choice that Ford fits to the Raptor in Australia, Europe, and America, where it's going to be sold for the first time. But it's also considering fitting a smaller diesel engine to the new ute for some Asian markets. Okay, so how the new Raptor looks. Well, for me, two things stand out immediately. The first is the striking C-shaped headlights, which brings the new Raptor in line with Ford's global design direction for pickups. The second is that the old Raptor's iconic look of really pumped up guards and narrow glass house is reduced. Rest assured, the flared guards are still there on the new ute, but because the new Raptor is based on the new Ranger, which is now 50mm wider than before, the gap between the Raptor and the regular Ranger has closed a little bit. Ford says it actually couldn't go any wider with the new Raptor because it's already the widest car that it can fit down the production line in Thailand. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it's still a pretty tough looking ute. The old ute's composite panels are gone as well, with conventional steel now the material of choice for the front quarter panels and the bonnet. There are functional vents on the bonnet now, of course, and there's also the signature FORD grille with big bold letters at the front of the ute. The headlights are pretty clever. They're matrix designed, so that means they can mask out oncoming traffic, and the taillights are LEDs as well. Buyers will have the choice of two 17-inch wheel designs, including one with beadlock capability, which helps to prevent the tyre from rolling off the rim if you drop the pressures in off-road situations. But a word of warning, the beadlock wheels are heavier. They add about 16 kilograms to the Raptor's unsprung mass. The tyre itself is largely unchanged from the previous Raptor, and it's supplied by BF Goodrich. Personally, I think the new Raptor does look very tough, but I do miss the crazily pumped up guards of the original. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you reckon the new look is a hit or a miss? If the new engine is the thing that will most change the Raptor's character, then I think a new exhaust system with switchable modes is sure to be a close second. Ford invited us for a look at the new Raptor at its proving ground yesterday, and here's how the new 2.5-inch system exits through twin 65mm anodized tips. The system itself has 4 modes: Quiet, Normal, Sport, and Baja. And in Baja, Ford says it behaves like a straight-through exhaust and that it's right on the legal limit for decibels. So expect the new Raptor to be pretty loud. Ford says it also spent a lot of time tuning the new exhaust to avoid the usual V6 pitfalls, because sometimes V6s can sound pretty average. But Ford says it really focused on ensuring the new Raptor sounds as tough as possible. Interestingly, Ford did reveal that some exhaust noise is piped into the cabin through the speakers, but Justin Capiciano confirmed it's quite minimal. And the reason they've done that is because, unlike a conventional passenger car where you're much closer to the exhaust, in a dual cab, you're sort of more isolated from the noise itself. So they wanted to give people experiencing the car and driving the car a better idea of what it actually sounds like. Compared to the powertrain, you might think that the chassis of the new Raptor has taken more of an evolutionary step, at least on paper. But Ford says it's actually a generational shift. As with the last ute, a punishing off-road testing regime was core to the Raptor's development. Ford subjected the car to a 1,000-kilometre Baja race simulation at race speed, and the new Raptor was 10 seconds a lap faster around Ford's 10-kilometre loop. That is massive. Plus, the new Raptor got through the test so easily, the 1,000 kilometres, they actually threw a few hundred extra Ks at it just for fun. A big change is that the new Raptor now has a permanent 4x4 system with an electronically controlled 2-speed transfer case and locking diffs front and rear. So Ford says when you jump in the car and turn it on, it now defaults to 4 high instead of 2-wheel drive. And they've also said that this has opened up a completely new dynamic window for the chassis engineers to play with, and that the Raptor is now a completely different animal to drive quickly. Also central to the new Raptor's ability is its new platform and, importantly, its new suspension. Based on the new Ranger's updated T6 platform, which has a 50mm longer wheelbase, the second-gen Raptor also gains additional body bracing and higher strength components. Now this bit's important. It's also moved to electronically controlled dampers, which are supplied by US company Fox. Built around a double wishbone front and a Wattslink rear end, the new Fox 2.5-inch live valve system, it uses conventional coilovers up front, but has shocks with external reservoirs at the rear. The new shocks are similar to those on the new Bronco Raptor, but the shock tubes measure 2.5 inches across, not 3.1. Now the new suspension is able to control the amount of damping force needed during compression of the suspension, but not rebound. And that's allowed Ford to fit modes that can actually detect when the ute gets airborne over a jump or it's accelerating hard, and it primes the dampers accordingly. If you're stationary and you flatten the throttle, for example, something called loud pedal mode is engaged, and that's used to reduce squat of the rear of the car. Drivers can adjust the dampers through the Ranger's 7 drive modes, Plus, there is an individual mode which allows you to separate the steering, the powertrain, the exhaust, and the suspension all to your own individual preferences. Like the new Ranger, the Raptor has taken a huge leap inside. For a closer look at what's changed and what additional equipment you get, here's what Damien Smythe thought of the cabin of the new Raptor when he hopped inside at the Ute static reveal yesterday.
Alex, that's right. Here we are with the new Ranger Raptor, an engineering prototype, and it's immediately apparent that this is a marked step up from the existing Ranger and the previous Raptor. Most notably is the code orange. It looks a bit red, but it's actually code orange that's splashed throughout the interior, and that's on everything from the seats, which are a unique design for Raptor. They're not a mere Ranger seat updated, they're a proper purpose-built design for Ranger Raptor, and also the back seat for the first time is specific to Ranger Raptor to give that Ranger experience to everyone in the vehicle. The steering wheel itself has a better leather, a higher grade of leather than regular Rangers, and also has the 12 o'clock dead ahead position and the double spoke down the bottom with Raptor emblazoned down the bottom. Again, you know you're in a Ranger Raptor when you're at the wheel. Because it's a new generation Ranger, it also has the large center screen with Sync 4, which includes things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but wirelessly, as well as the really slick digital instrument cluster for the first time as well. But it's not about what's going on in here, it's about the suspension underneath and what's under the bonnet.
The prospect of a V8 powered Raptor has tantalised Raptor fans for years, and Ford did explore the possibility with the original Ute, but don't expect one this time around, at least not from the factory. Ford says it's focusing on the V6 for now, and says it feels it's pretty close to where the limit is from that engine. If you ask key players in the aftermarket about the V6, however, you get a slightly different answer. Rob Herod is a man heavily involved with Ford performance globally, and he told Wheels that he's already looking at the new Raptor, and he'll have a powertrain upgrade available very soon. Plus, there might actually be a version with 8 cylinders, but it won't be for the road. Ford's top brass has said that it does want to make a hardcore off-road racing version of the new Ranger Raptor, and that it could follow a similar path to the Bronco DR, which is built by Canadian company Multimatic, and that's fitted with a Coyote V8. The big question is, when can you buy one? Well, it won't be for a few months yet. Ford is hoping to get the press into prototypes for ride-alongs at its proving ground pretty soon, but it's going to be a while before even journalists can get in one to drive one. Third quarter of 2022 is likely to be when the new Ranger Raptor goes on sale to the public. As for pricing, Ford says it hasn't finalised how much the new Raptor will cost, but I reckon you can bank on an increase over the old Ute's 79 grand starting price. Given how much the new Raptor has moved things along, I can kind of understand that, but make sure you check back into our channel for our first drive and dive into the comments below to let us know what you think about the new Raptor. Are you impressed? Has Ford delivered? Or maybe were you hoping for something different? Let us know.